Hello. Let me see if my microphone's correct. How do I do it? We'll see. If you can hear me, let me know. Tell me how you're doing. And thanks for the thumbs up. And what is going on? Happy Friday. Okay, I think I've got the right microphone going on. Yes. Okay. Happy Friday. I am Cathy Mazak, and this is day 5, the last day of the summer writing challenge. Hi, Lisa. Yay. So today I'm going to be talking to you about, first we're going to kind of review what we've been talking about, what we're going to do, launching from here, what's the next step in our summer writing process, or what are some next steps that you could take to ensure that you have a really great writing summer. And I'm going to be talking today specifically about what I kind of refer to as like my signature method, or the signature way that I teach writing systems. So we're going to be talking about that today. I'm going to be sharing slides. Today might be a little longer than the other days, but let me just recap a little bit about how the summer writing challenge has gone. So this has been a 5-day writing challenge, and the purpose of the challenge has not really, it's not a, write a certain number of words a day challenge, but rather it has been, let's learn 5 ways that we could adjust or tweak our writing practice to have a really great writing summer. And some themes that we've talked about all the way through are going to be reiterated today. So without any more messing around, I'll get started. So let me say though, go ahead and I will be asking you some questions, and you can reply in the chat. And let me just see here. I'm going to share my screen. Hi. Okay, here we go. So this is an abbreviated version of my favorite webinar, which is How to Write More Without Big Blocks of Time, the secret to developing a sustainable writing system. And that's what we are talking about today. So I want to just start out with some questions for the crowd. Does this sound like you? You keep waiting for big blocks of writing time that never come. Or what happens to me is what used to happen to me is I would kind of block off giant blocks of time, and then somebody would get sick every single time without fail. Hi, Magdalena in Poland. Yay! Thank you for joining. So if you do this, you're waiting for those big blocks, and maybe you've been waiting and you've been thinking summer is when I'm going to have the big blocks, but we've talked a lot this week about pulling back those expectations of how long you can write at one sitting, right? And we're going to be talking more about that and really in depth about that today. Yes, Lisa. Yes. Okay. Also, maybe you had great advisors. I did, but maybe you didn't have great advisors, but no one ever taught you how to write for academic publication while you're doing all the other things. So we have like these ideas about what writing should look like, that we should have big blocks of time to do it. But then also, once we start an actual academic job, we are pulled in 1,000 directions, right? Like those big blocks never come. Even in the summer, it's hard to pull it off. And we really don't talk about it. Like I know, like I had fantastic advisors and I learned so much from them. But this kind of behind the scenes, how do you get the everyday writing done or the everyday stuff done is still a mystery. Hi, Tracy in Birmingham. It's raining. Oh, it's not raining here. We actually need it to rain. Global warming has made the rainy season dry in Puerto Rico, and we actually need some rain. Okay, so let me ask you this one. Is this the voice inside your head? My to-do list never ends, and so I never find time to write. Or I know I need to publish so that I can get the job I want, or so that I can get tenure, or so that I can get promotion. But with all the teaching and committee work, it just keeps falling to the bottom of the list. And then this one, which is so pertinent for the summer. If the voice inside your head is saying, I can never relax because I could always be working, this is a really big problem. And this is a problem that leads to burnout. This is something that will eventually backfire because if you never relax and you never rest, it's like being on a treadmill set too fast. Eventually you will trip and fall, and it's not good. So we want to see what we can do to prevent this from happening. So you're in the right place if you want to be able to write consistently without feeling guilty when you're not writing. Hi, Ute. You're in the right place if you are ready to design a reliable system to get your writing done, but you know that like these one-size-fits-all systems will probably not fit for you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what you will learn today. Hi, Lisa. Working on getting writing to the top. And yes, oh my God, burnout and no relaxation time. Yes, 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 yes. So one of the big themes of today is going to be guilt and overwhelm. Like, how can we get rid of guilt and overwhelm? Jennifer says yes to the endless to-do list, 2 kids, heavy teaching load, long commute. Yes to all of those things. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So today what you'll learn is how to eliminate guilt and overwhelm around your writing practice. How to write more in less time. And I'm very serious about this. What I want to teach you about is how you can tap and use your best energy to write more in less time. You don't need 6 or 8 hours to write. You can do it in shorter blocks, but you have to plan the blocks in the method that I'm going to be explaining to you today. Number 3 is the number 1 secret to writing sustainability. And number 4, you'll learn how your packed schedule can actually be an asset, not a liability. And you might not have a super packed schedule in the summer, but what we want to do is we want to start changing and shifting our writing practice this summer in a way that's sustainable throughout the year, right? Like we don't want to just only have a great writing summer or only write in the summer and then everything sits in your pipeline for the whole academic year. That's not going to work, right? We want to make sure that whatever system you develop can work with a schedule that's really packed. Gina, congratulations. You have been here every day live. Good job. And good job to anybody who I have not called out that's been here every day live. Thank you. So please stick around to the end. I'm going to be I'm teaching you a lesson that is right out of the Academic Women's Writing Roadmap. And then at the end, I will be telling you more about the roadmap course and see if that's something that would be a good fit for you this summer. So just a little bit about myself. There's me in my office with my hair longer. So maybe you can relate, maybe not, but I graduated from Michigan State with my PhD, and I actually got my dream job at my dream school right out of the PhD. My husband was a graduate of the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez, and he always knew this is where he wanted to teach because he's in agriculture, and this is the only a graduate degree granting school of agriculture in Puerto Rico. So he wanted to be here. And so we were targeting jobs here. I got the job first, and then he came later and also got a TT line. And we are so very happy and feel fortunate to have gotten kind of our dream jobs. But once I started on the tenure track, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I really don't know how to do this. I know how to give my classes. I know how to plan classes. I know how, but I've never given 4 in a semester. Actually, I was giving 3. I've never actually had to give 4 in a semester, but our normal teaching loads are 4 here. But I normally teach a 3 and then have either graduate students making up the other 3 credits, or when I first started out, I was in charge of educational technology for the department. But what that ended up meaning, I thought that was going to mean let's do workshops to help teachers use technology or professors use technology. But what it actually meant was people would come to me when their printers didn't work, or when the projector in the room didn't work. And I was like, what is this? So I had that. I was supervising undergrads who were supposed to be helping me with that. I was teaching 90 freshmen. And then I had this beautiful dissertation that was sitting there that I had won a fellowship to write, and it was just this wonderful thing. And I really loved my dissertation, and it just sat there, bound in its black cover of death, for like the whole first year. And I was like, how do you get this done? And then what happened was I got pregnant. So I had to very quickly figure out how to get the writing done, do all the things, make my career what I wanted it to be, and smush it all into daycare hours, because once I was a mom, little needy girl was not having it for any nighttime or weekend working. And plus I was just too exhausted because I have been sleep deprived for as long as I've been a mom, and that's been 12 years. So, I had to figure out how to do it. And so I did. And what I want to do now is help you to do that, which is to feel more calm, confident, and collected, to get your writing done in a way that feels really good to you, and to take control of your career and not be blown by the wind. So let's get started. So I'm going to introduce you to this concept of tiger time. The words tiger time come from entrepreneur Amy Porterfield. And what it means is the time of day when you feel like you can take over the world. And we're going to dig a little bit into what this means, but you feel like you have the eye of the tiger. You're, like you could do it. So that's your tiger time. And we're going to dig into this concept and how to use it to write more in less time. So there's some underlying principles behind the idea of tiger time. So these are the things that are really important to understand about this. You don't have to write all the time. Okay, so it's really important to have these are the times when I write. These are the times when I don't write. I don't even try. And we're going to talk more about that today. The key behind tiger time is that small, focused, consistent writing sessions are key. And probably the most important part of that is the focused. What we're trying to do is create writing sessions that have focus, that have flow, that have, where you feel again, like we've been talking about all week, where you feel like you have a positive interaction with the writing process, not like you're pulling teeth, because everybody has had a writing session where you sit down and it feels like you're pulling teeth, right? So we don't want that. What we're looking for are instead those writing sessions, which maybe you've had now. Maybe it's been a while since you've had one of these, where you sat down and things just flow out. We're trying to create the circumstances for flow, and one of the most important parts is focus. So I want to know in the chat, do you suffer from guilt and overwhelm? So what I mean is, when you're not writing, do you feel guilty about it? So this is something that has come up a lot. And some people ask me why do you say you're a women's writing coach? And this is one of the biggest reasons. The way in my experience, the way that women talk about writing and not writing is using terms like guilt and overwhelm. And the men that I've coached, which I did very early on, but then decided just to focus on women, talk more about being embarrassed if they don't get their writing done. So the reason that I really am focusing on women, besides the fact that I am a woman, so women or anybody who identifies as a woman, is that we kind of characterize this, this thing of guilt and overwhelm is the way that we talk about ourselves not writing. So Polly says, I can't even watch a movie without feeling guilty. Right. This is the problem, right? Because since you could technically, if you just had a pencil and a scrap of paper, be writing, technically, you could really do it almost anywhere. And even when you're driving, maybe it would be the only time. And I know people who use the voicemail app, a voice messenger thingy to write while they're driving, or to catch ideas while they're driving. So we have this idea that since we physically could be doing it all the time, that we should be doing it all the time. Okay, Trisha says, completely on the guilt and overwhelm. It's difficult to try to tell myself that it's okay to take a break. Yes, and I hope that this will solve that problem somewhat, but it's Trisha, it's a process, right? So have to retrain, and that's why I talk a lot about mindset. we have to retrain ourselves as to like our own expectations. Ashley says, yes, I think about it when I'm teaching courses, eating meals, exercising, spending time with my toddler and husband, even showering and sleeping. This morning I woke up guilty because I didn't get up at 6 a.m. to write like I said I would, right? Because Ashley, you're overwhelmed and doing too many things. So yeah, you get up at 6 a.m. What? You know, like you have a toddler. Like if you got an extra 5 minutes, like that's another thing. I'm going to soapbox for a second. I could never get up early to write. And so I just always want to say, if getting up early to write is like the advice that people give you, like as a mom of non-sleeping small people, I'm like, F that. Like, excuse me. Like I've gotten up early, like 4 a.m. early every day for years with my middle child. And I'm like, there is no get up before the kids in my house. So that is also off the plate in terms of strategies that I suggest. Uta says, I should be writing right now. No, you shouldn't. Just listen to me. It's fine. Okay. Lisa said, yes, actually go through the stages of grief after having a good writing block of time because I don't feel like I can do it in short chunks. And I want to write in short chunks. Okay, Lisa, let's hope that some of the things I tell you here are going to get you there. Ashley said, and I never wake up at 6 a.m., but I always tell myself I'll do it. Ha. Yes. Again, right? Or set yourself up for failure all the time. Ashley, we need to stop this. Okay. Excuse me. That's right. Yes. Okay. Let me drink of water. All right. So let's get into it. All right. So here's Tiger Time. So I'm just going to tell you right now, Ashley and Lisa and everybody, that working 24/7 is not the answer to solving, is not the answer to not feeling guilty or overwhelmed. So let's just spin this out to its logical conclusion. Let's imagine that you could, work maybe not 24 hours a day, because let's save 8 for sleeping, if we're lucky. Let's say 16. So let's say you were working 16 hours a day. There is no way that you would be equally productive in all those 16 hours, nor would you be able to sustain, a working day with the bright mind and thoughtfulness and, just ability to think clearly about things that you need to do the work that we do. You can't sustain that for that many hours, and you can't sustain it every day, day in and day out for 7 days a week all the time. Okay, so if you think I just need more time to work, that's going to solve my guilt and overwhelm problem. It's actually not, because you're going to get more burnt out faster, and you're actually not going to get that much more done. So if you think of it as let's just pretend that you have about 6 quality hours of work, teaching, prep, writing, research, lab work, whatever. Let's say you have 6 hours a day that you can really do that with the attention and the mental fortitude that it needs, right? And then the other times you're taking short breaks, you're going to the bathroom, you're eating, whatever, right? Even if you so adding more hours to that is not actually being more productive. And it's probably being less productive because you're being more tired. Okay. So working more and more and more hours isn't necessarily going to solve the problems that you're feeling. Okay. But instead, working at your best capacity for a reasonable amount of time with consistency is a better answer. And I will rein this statement into referring to writing specifically. Okay. So you could probably grade quizzes half in your sleep, without a lot of energy, but you don't want to, you don't want to be writing, you don't want to use those low energy times for writing, because you're going to develop this, bad relationship with your writing. So let's talk more about that. So trying to write during your worst times of day or when you're exhausted is really a waste of time. I know that there are some schools of writing coaching that teach just get words on a page and then tomorrow you can delete them. And I think that for some types of writing and for some types of writers that's good advice. But the truth is that in the kind of writing that we do as academics, just putting words on a page is not necessarily advancing your article. So if you think of, in the sciences, it might make more sense to spend some time, figuring out the order of the graphs and tables in your, in your writing than to just make sure you write words. Okay. Or it might be better to, read something and be able to paraphrase it in a few key sentences than it would be to plop down a X number of words per day just because. And so I know that there's people who have been taught the advice, like write 500 words a day every day. And then it's like 9:30 and you're half asleep. You just got the kids down and you sit down to write your 500 words and why are you doing that? You're just making yourself feel bad. So we want to make yourself feel good. That's what we're trying to do with this method. Okay, so again, additional underlying principles. So Tiger Time takes advantage of focus, clarity, and energy. And the idea is that you want to use your most focused, clear, and energetic times of day for writing. And so we're going to take away this idea of writing. You could be writing all the time, or I should be writing all the time, right? And we're going to replace it with actually, no. You should be writing during your Tiger Time, and the rest of the time, you're going to use it for something else. And the reason is we use our best times for writing to help us create a positive relationship with writing, to get writing done faster, and because that puts writing at the center of what you're doing. It makes, and what that's going to do is advance your career. So if you always are saying I'm being pulled by my students and committees and all these other things and I never get my publications done, but then you go up for tenure and what are the requirements? I mean, yeah, you had to be on some committees. Yeah, you had to teach students, but you also had to get the writing done. And in a lot of places, there's a big disconnect between what they expect you to be doing with the minutes of your day and the amount of publications they expect from you, right? So you have to be able to pull back at that a little bit and say okay, I'm going to get my writing done because that's the thing that's going to get me the job, keep me the job, get me the promotion, make me happy, make me fulfilled in my career. And the other things will line up behind it, but I need to put the writing at the center. That's why we give our Tiger Time to writing. So how do you find your Tiger Time? You're like, what is she talking about? Okay, so this is just a little example, and you can do this on a piece of paper or in a planner. If you have a planner that does the hours like this. If not, just a piece of paper is fine. All this is a list of 1 to 5, and then the hours of the day on the left-hand side. And I've just listed the general hours of the day that I'm awake. But you can change this for your own schedule. So 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. I have an hour each time. And this is a little journal. And so what you're going to do is for 3 to 5 days, you might be able to just do 3 days. But for 3 to 5 days, and these are working days, you're going to kind of be reflective about how you feel at each hour of the day. Okay? And you're going to use a little color-coded system. So you're going to mark the hours where you feel the most energy, inspiration, and drive. You're going to use a green marker or pen to kind of highlight those hours. You're going to use the blue color to, you can use crayons if you can't find anything else. Use the blue color. If you feel okay, I'm doing great, but I need to take some breaks in order to sustain momentum. So the green really represents that time when you could do a lot, without really needing to take that many breaks. And then the blue is just under that. I still feel energetic and clear, but I'm fidgeting a little more. I need to stand up or whatever. You're going to use orange to mark the distracted, bored, tired, procrastinating times, okay? So those are the times when you sit down and you look at your computer and instead of doing whatever you're going to do, you check email. Or you look at your computer and instead of opening the document, you check Facebook. Or you go to the bathroom. Or you go knock on your colleague's door or whatever. The things where you can't, you just aren't focusing. And then the red means complete exhaustion. There's no way you're getting anything done. Okay. So there will be some hours of the day that you don't mark with any of these probably. But this is the basic idea that you're trying to identify the times of day that are blue and green and the times of day that are orange and red. And once you've done this, you've found your tiger time. So the green and blue times, you want to write them down, like, you know, in the front of your planner or something, and say like, okay, my tiger time is like, and so for me, my tiger time is from 8 to 10 every day. And those are my green times. And then from like 10 to 11:30 would be blue for me. The other colors, you know, anything after 6 o'clock, like I can't get home and then do something else. Like by the time I get the kids and everything, I'm just pretty much done. And also after lunch writing doesn't work for me. Some people get a boost after lunch. Some people get a boost after kids go to bed. You know, this is going to be really different for everyone. But the important thing is that you take a little time and you figure this out for yourself. Okay. That's the thing behind the journal. So then you have identified 1 or 2 hours of tiger time in your day. And maybe you'll notice you have like some here and some down here. You know, it doesn't mean like it's going to be 2 blocks in a row. Play with this, listen to yourself, and do this little journal activity for 5 days or so. So what are you going to do once you have this information? So how do you implement your tiger time? Well, what you do is you block it on your calendar. Okay, so you want to note on your, so on my Google Calendar, I have my tiger time written on, you know, every day. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily writing every day, but like it's there. So if you use a planner, again, like you could block it, pencil it on your calendar. And what you're going for is finding 1 to 2 hours per day, 2 to 5 days a week. Okay. 2 to 3 is totally fine. And it's okay if you need to break it up. It's okay if you begin this process and you look at your calendar and you go, oh, darn it. Oh yeah, sorry. Let me see if I can move my video to the other corner. Does that move me? Okay, what it says under my face is realistic and consistent. So it says block it on your calendar 2 hours per day, break it up, block it on your calendar 2 hours per day, break it up, realistic and consistent. That's what the slide says. I don't know if I'm in control of where that thing is. It's not actually, I see my little face in a miniature, but it's not actually here on my screen. Sorry, Melanie. Okay, So anyway, you're going to kind of note this on your calendar, and what you're going for to start out is 1 to 2 hours at a time, tops 2 hours. 1 hour is great. And 2 to 3 days a week. Okay. So you want to be realistic and consistent. Remember on Monday how we talked about setting goals. So we might feel like, I did the summer writing challenge and I'm going to set these giant goals. No, you didn't learn the summer writing challenge if you think that. What you want to do is start small and be successful and then build up to more hours during your tiger time. Now, how you really implement this might take time. So in the summer, you may have more control and be able to say like, okay, I'm making a writing appointment with myself during these tiger times. But during the year, and maybe you already know your fall schedule, right? Like and maybe you're like, oh dang, like I teach during my tiger time every day. So it doesn't have to be perfect to start. You can work towards it. So the important thing is to have the realization like, oh, I've been scheduling my classes during my tiger time. And now for spring, I want to talk to my department chair and see if that can be changed. And if it can't be changed every day, could it be changed 2 days or 3 days a week? So that's the align it with your life and reschedule things. So like you may need to reschedule things around your writing, but writing is important enough that you should do that. Okay. You might need to get creative, right? You might find your tiger time is at a certain time of day that you're in the car. Okay, so is there a way that you could switch pick up and drop off? Is there a friend could do whatever you're in your car to do, like, and you trade for something else, like just think of ways that you can make it so that every week you have between 2 and 4 hours of tiger time. Start small, 1, 2 hours, and maybe working up to 4, tops 6 hours of tiger time when that's blocked off as dates. Like I call them writing blocks, right? Like a date with yourself to write during that time. You want to really listen to your energy. You want to be diligent about this. And what I mean by be diligent is if you block off writing time on your schedule, it's writing time. And so some people are like, oh, but what if somebody calls and asks if I'm available? Yeah, you're not available. So you don't have to give, I'm giving you permission not to give like a whole bunch of reasons for saying no. You actually don't have to give any reasons for saying no to things. So I'm giving you permission to just say like, I'm not available at that time. Sorry. That's it. Or if you want to say, I'm not available. That's my writing time, and start to send the message to the world about how important writing is. Because if everybody's going to keep making meetings over your writing time, all of those people already went up for tenure, or all of those people are already full, or all of those people are making bad decisions about their schedule. You don't have to, right? Okay. So a big idea to take away. It is just as important to decide when you're not writing as to decide when you are writing. Okay. That's how we get rid of guilt. We say, oh, Cathy said, don't even try to write during your orange and red times because it's going to backfire. Okay. So you don't have to feel guilty about when you're watching a movie, right? Because you shouldn't be writing. Especially if you're doing it during your orange and red time, you shouldn't be writing at that time anyway. And you don't have to feel guilty about, not waking up at 6 a.m. to write, because you need to rest, and you're not going to be you're not going to be able to bring your A game to your writing if you're exhausted. So what we want to do is we want to shift our thinking and really think like, okay, it's okay to have smaller blocks of time if we're choosing them wisely, if we're saying like and dedicating energy to those times. All right. So the result of this method is a more sustainable system, right? Because you're not looking for hours and hours and hours of time that you'll never find, right? You're not trying to block off every Friday all day for the whole semester. If you can do that and it works for you, great. But it doesn't work for me. Like I can block off, again, I'll write during my tiger time on Friday mornings, but I'm not going to write all day long. So it's sustainable because you're lowering the bar. You're saying like, I'm going to use smaller, higher energy blocks, and then I'm less likely to screw it up, right? By having these big blocks of time that, somebody gets a cold and then I can't take them to daycare that day, and then there goes my big block. Maxine, that's a great question. Maxine asked, does tiger time include reading for your writing? Okay, so you can. It depends on what your writing needs most at the moment. So I will say that like you definitely want to do your pen to paper or cursor to screen writing during your tiger time. Like that's the idea. But if you need to read something before you get there, then use it for reading. Because you're also like, it's like your sharpest time. So think about like, do I want to spend my sharpest time on this reading, or should I instead be planning my writing or writing a certain section and then reading in a blue time instead of a green time? Yes. So Melanie, a similar question. Does writing time include social science data cleaning and analysis, or just the actual writing? So I define writing as all of those things. Writing is all the stuff that you need to do to put the words on the paper. Okay. But you need to decide whether like the best, like those tiger time blocks, you want to use them for data cleaning and analysis, or whether that's something that could be you have, like, if you even have other time, right? Because we're so booked up, right? But I guess like the simple answer is yes, use your tiger time for reading, data analysis, making graphs, and all those things that are writing writ large, because those things have to get done. So we want to be moving projects through the pipeline. And so if you need to use your tiger time for that, then do it. But always use it for the actual writing. Do you see what I mean? Like, so when it comes to writing, like, don't use your tiger time for doing your data cleanup, and then when you actually sit down to write, it's a red or a orange time. Okay? So you can see here, we're going to write more in less time because we're going to write with a lot of energy, and we're going to work within your packed schedule because we're talking about smaller blocks and not giant blocks, because nobody has giant blocks. They never come. So I give you permission to write during your tiger time and to let all the other writing times go so that you don't feel guilty about them. I can't 100% stop you from being overwhelmed, although if you have consistency with this practice, you will feel less overwhelmed because your projects are going to be moving. Because stalled out projects lead to overwhelm. Okay. And guilt also, like, especially when you're like, oh, I have that project and it floats to the top and you have to kind of push it down. So if you have a consistent practice, small times, but consistently, 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, but consistently, you're going to feel way less overwhelmed because things are going to be moving along. They might not be moving along at the pace that you really want, but you need to lower that bar, double that time to submit, because it's better than just never getting it submitted, right? Okay. So to recap, we learned how to eliminate guilt and overwhelm around your writing practice by writing during your tiger time. We learned how to write more in less time. And so I just want you to try it and see how it works for you. I think you will actually write more in less time. I definitely do, using this method. The secret to writing sustainability, which is small blocks of time with consistency, but not necessarily every day, but consistent. And then how your PEC schedule can actually be an asset, not a liability, because you can fit in your writing blocks and it works. You don't need those big blocks of time. So tell me in the chat, what was your biggest takeaway? And while you're doing that, I'm going to say that you're here and you participated in this summer writing challenge because you're ready to write and publish more. It's your time to experience the focus, clarity, and confidence about your writing that you deserve. It's your time to experience more publications because you have the tools that you need to get your writing done. And it's your time to stop feeling frazzled, overwhelmed, and guilty about never getting to your writing projects and never being truly present in your off time. We should be able to watch a movie and be okay with it. So it's your time to write with a step-by-step system. And so I'm talking to you now about the Academic Women's Writing Roadmap. This is the course that I'm offering starting May 20th. It's a 12-week recorded online course that helps you go from stalled out, clogged up pipeline to prolifically flowing pipeline. So a testimonial, I feel really, I really feel like I have not just tools for getting my important work done, but a sense of empowerment and perspective about what matters to me. That is the feedback that I got on this course from Elizabeth Haswell. And I very recently got this feedback from Marlene. This is a really amazing story. She said, I was offered a promotion. Listen to this. I was offered a promotion conditional on submitting 8 qualitative manuscripts in 6 months. Marlene is a medical ethnographer, as a medical anthropologist. My mentors thought my accepting this timeline was setting myself up for failure. But because of tracking my pipeline and having writing strategies after taking your course, I thought I could do it, though it would be hard. I hit the goal in 6 months and in 4 months, and by 6 months had 10 publications and got the promotion. A few months forward, and every single one of them is now in press. I credit your coaching to my writing success and confidence. So I cannot guarantee that everyone will have these amazing, amazing results, but this was how Marlene felt after she took the course. And of course, implementing the things she learned in the course, and taking action, which is also really important. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the 12-week transformation. We will spend weeks 1 through 7 learning the kinds of things I taught you today. Okay. And I'm going to go into what they are. And I know that the comments are going, so I'm going to go back to those in a second. So we spend weeks 1 through 7 learning kind of like the behind the scenes. How are you going to organize? How are you going to get your writing systems down? How are you going to strategize your pipeline and keep it flowing? We learn that for weeks 1 through 7, and I'll give more details about that in a second. And then the doing part is we do a writing sprint together, a guided writing sprint for weeks 8 through 9. And the refining is we have lessons that kind of take you to the next level. We talk about writing accountability and systems and goal setting. And the final project for the course is a year-long planning session. And I have that recorded, but what I'm going to also do is offer a live version of it in that last 12 weeks for students in the course. And it will also be recorded, but basically there's like a 20-page PDF and we work through it, and it's like the final exam. It's the final project. We put together everything that you learned, into a plan for your academic year, 2019-2020. And throughout the whole time, and actually a little bit beyond, you get weekly co-writing sessions and support inside the Academic Women's Writing Collective. All right. So the learning that happens in weeks 1 through 7 are these lessons. I'm going to get into them in more detail in a second. But what I taught you today was just one lesson out of Module 4 called Develop Your Writing System. So that's just one lesson out of 4 that are inside of Module 4. So those are the things we do weeks 1 through 7. I'm going to go through them in detail in a second. Then weeks 8 through 9, we do the 2-week guided sprint to help you move the needle on a project, either start out a project or finish an almost done project. And during weeks 8 through 9, we actually work daily. There's short daily lessons to do the 2-week guided sprint. And then the last 3 weeks are the refining. We talk more deeply about how to set writing goals. We talk about how to decide whether you should be setting word count goals, task-based goals, or time-based goals. We talk about how you can create an accountability system for your writing, and I give you some actual tools for that. And we will have our year planning session. And then during the 12 weeks, and actually you get 15 weeks of access to the Academic Women's Writing Collective. Inside of that group, which is an online group where we don't use Facebook, we use Mighty Networks, which is an app you can have on your phone or your computer that is private. So it's not like you have all of Facebook pulling at your attention. And we have like a community in there where we ask questions and submit homework. We also do weekly co-writing. We have a library of workshops that you have access to for the 15 weeks that you get access to the collective. And co-writing means that we turn on the computer and we write together. So we do this through Zoom. We have a dedicated co-writing link. And so there's over 100 women who are in the Academic Women's Writing Collective. And so a lot of times, if you're just looking for somebody to write with, even if your people are in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Europe, different places all around the world, you will be able to find someone who also wants to write at the same time as you and get on the link and use it for co-writing, which is really awesome. So you get in the course the video modules, and you get access to the video modules for the lifetime of the course, which means that even after the 12 weeks is over, you get to keep the modules, and you can go back to them and brush up, whenever. You get the supportive community, and you get the fantastic 30-plus page PDF workbook that's fillable, and there's lots of bonuses too that I'm going to talk to you about in a second. But what you'll achieve in the course is that you're going to feel confident and in control of your career. You're going to have the skills you need to manage your day-to-day tasks, and you're going to create a plan to write and publish more, and you're going to have the skills that you need to enact that plan. Okay, so I'm going to look at the takeaways here. So biggest takeaways. Lisa says, I like so much the idea of creating a better and good relationship with writing and writing sustainability. That's so much better than putting in X number of hours. I agree, 100%. Yes to happiness and fulfillment through writing. Yeah, like, you know, I feel a lot, and I've written about this on my blog, like writing like used to be fun. And then we get into academia and they strip all the fun out of it, all the flow, all the happiness. And it just becomes kind of like something we're almost scared to do because of the criticism and the opening ourselves up to criticism that writing is in academia. So I want to shift that, and I teach how to shift that in this course. Trisha says the small blocks of time for productivity is a huge breakaway. Although I did it this morning, and after the hour was over, I was thrilled, but thought, that's it? I can do more. Okay, Trisha, this is a great point. So you have a choice at that moment. You can either do more, nobody's stopping you, or you can leave on that high feeling of I can do more. And this is, again, something I teach in the course, this concept of like, leave yourself breadcrumbs for what you're going to do the next session. So you leave yourself some notes and you have some place to pick up. And that's a really great way to get momentum on your writing, is to actually stop before you're 100% spent. Like, stop while you still have an idea for what's coming next so that you can pick up there in your next writing session. Gina says, I have written in small blocks consistently, and I never wrote more when I practiced this method. I came to it on my own, and I'm glad that you reinforced the usefulness of this method. Good, yes. And Sarah says, I love the reminder to prioritize both my time and my writing. It's so easy to keep deferring. Yeah, it is. And I think, like, when academic women talk about writing, they say, I need to write more and I don't know how. Like, or I need to write more and I'm just waiting for the big blocks of time that never come, or whatever. The prioritizing is such a huge part of this course. It's like, how are we going to put writing at the center? I'm going to teach you how. So I'm going to actually like get into that. So once you register for the course, you will get access to a welcome module. All that's there right now. So like if you join right now today, which I encourage you to do, you're going to get access and you're just going to be hanging out until the 20th when the classes start. Okay. So you get registration. And then on the 20th is when all the modules become active. So you'll have a welcome module, but that's all that's really in there until the 20th. In week 1, which will be, again, the 20th of May, the first module is all about mapping your mission. So when we talk about priorities, what we do here in the course is we start with an academic mission statement. And this is something that I teach a lot in my free resources, but inside the course we really go deep. There's 4 modules about it actually. And what this helps you to do is to create a mission statement for your career that helps you to focus and control your career. So if you feel like you're pulled in a lot of directions, the mission statement, we use it to stop that feeling by aligning everything, which is the second module, behind a mission statement. So a lot of times you get the advice like, you're doing too many things, you need to quit some stuff. But nobody tells you how to do it. Like, how do you select what to quit? You just don't want to quit random things. And there's some things that you can't get out of, right? Like there's some activities that your university has said, you must do this service thing, right? Or this whatever thing, this program development thing. How can we align those things behind your mission or make a plan of exit? So that's what we do in module 2. It's very hand-holdy and step-by-step. We list out all the this is the painful part of the course. You list out actually all the things that you have to do. Like all the bazillions of activities that are part of your academic life. And then we align them all behind your mission. Make a plan to quit, make a plan to get out. It might take time, but the idea is to make your career feel like one thing instead of 20 things. In week 3, We dig into time management, including corralling your email, how to manage your time around student interactions so that you have the energy to do the things you need to do with your students, and how to choose projects and take on new projects based on how much time you realistically have instead of how much time you wish you had. In Module 4, we develop your writing system. So today I taught you one of the 4 lessons in this module. I teach 3 different writing systems and then how to combine them in a customized way, and then how to adjust your writing system so you account for the ebb and flow of the academic semester, and how to make sure that you finish projects that you start. In week 5, we talk about mindset because, again, some of the things we've talked about here are like how important it is to put writing at the center and prioritize writing, and that there's a lot of mindset gunk around that, right? So Maxine says, I really appreciate the conversations about guilt and shame. It's so true, right? Like we have this guilt about when someone asks us to do something. A lot of times the feeling that we have is guilt that we either say no, and then even if we say yes, so we don't feel that guilt, then we feel guilt that we said yes and aren't spending enough time on our writing projects. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. We need to work through this stuff, and with the goal of having the career that you want and having the career within the life that you want. Because if we can't watch a movie with our kids, what are we doing? Like, why did we do all this? Why are we doing all this work if we can't sit down and have a bowl of popcorn and watch a movie without feeling bad? Okay, we want this whole thing to feel much better. Academia tells you you're supposed to suffer and it's supposed to feel horrible all the time. And it's like the more overworked you are, the better you are. Like that is this, putting overwork on a pedestal that we need to quit right now. Like that's a really horrible thing about academia that I'm very much against. So we want to fight back against the culture of overwork by learning ways to do it better. And that's what the course teaches you about. Week 6 is about setting up your publication pipeline, which I love. You're going to make your very individualized, and it's very field specific too, like your publication pipeline. And we're going to learn how to identify blockages and then set yourself up to get through those blockages in your pipeline. And then module 7 of the course, we are going to map out your academic year kind of preliminarily, before the big finale, map out your academic year in the last week of the course. During weeks 8 through 9, we do a guided writing sprint. And the idea behind this is you take an 80% done article all the way to submitted, or you make big progress in a 2-week sprint. During the process of the sprint, you learn how to break projects into tasks. That's something we talked about on day 1 of the Summer Writing Challenge. We need to break projects into tasks. If you are guilty of putting write academic article on your to-do list, and then you feel bad because it never gets done, we're solving that with the skills we learn during this writing sprint. We really learn project planning during this time. So you create a step-by-step work plan, and then you enact your work plan. So the skills that you learn during this week are skills that you're going to be able to use throughout your academic career. I mean, all of them are, but you're going to be able to use this for every academic project that you do. And then week 10 through 12, like I said before, we're going to talk deeply about setting writing goals, creating an accountability system, and then we do, as our final project for the course, we create a 1-year action plan. So there's bonuses. You also get, if you enroll, the email inbox to 0 mini course, which is a 5-step method that I created specifically for academics to get to inbox 0 and stay there. It's a $97 value. You get the bonus 5-year plan module. So not just the 1-year plan, but there's a module that shows you how to do a 5-year plan. You get the academic writing project management workshop, which is a very popular workshop that sells for $127. It's a recorded workshop that shows you how to use Trello to manage your academic projects. And there are some bonuses inside this bonus, which is the Organize Your Summer Writing Board and video, working with grad students board and video, and a completing your book project board and video. And then you also get the academic branding course for free when you enroll on this webinar, okay? So that is Create Your Academic Brand. It takes you through a step-by-step process that helps you craft and articulate what your academic brand is. All right, what's the investment? Okay, so first, again, this is a mindset thing. I want you to think, like, what would it cost you to not get the job or to not get tenure or to not get promoted because you let the writing project sit and you didn't have a pipeline that was working for you? There are thousands of dollars wrapped up in us publishing, not because we get paid to publish, but because our promotion, the way to make more money in academia, if you are not going into administration, which is one way, is to get your publications done so you can hit your promotion milestones, and get external funding. But you need publications to get external funding. You might be able to get your first startup grant without too many publications, but after that, your results have to be published and things have to be flowing through that pipeline if you're going to bring in grant funds. So there's a definite connection, a direct connection between writing more and, advancing in your career, which actually means making more dollars. So the early bird registration, which the period that starts today and goes to Monday night, it says $19.99, but that's a typo. It should be $19.97 for lucky 7, or 6 payments of $350, and that's $500 off of the regular registration price. The regular registration price on Monday night at 8 my time, the price goes up $500 for the rest of the registration period. So if you want to get in early, just like when you register for an academic conference, you might want to get in early to take advantage of a lower early bird registration price. So I don't have the link. So use the link that's not in the chat to enroll. Okay, I will be putting the link in the chat in a second. Why didn't I not have that ready? Okay, I'll put that there in a second. I'm going to change off I'm going to change the camera. I just have a couple slides left. So what will happen when you click on the link that's not in the chat yet? You will get taken to a page that's going to explain everything that the course includes and all the modules again and everything. And then if you click enroll, you're going to see a page that looks like this, where it shows you the course. You're going to choose, actually before you click to enroll, you'll choose whether you want to do the full pay or the payment plan. You put in your credit card information, and this will, instead of being like grayed out, it'll be bright orange, and you'll click enroll in course. And then you'll get a welcome email, and then you will wait until May 20th when all the modules will open. So another testimonial from Lena at Rutgers. I'm astonished. I entered the Academic Women's Writing Roadmap, and I don't think I felt better about my work in years. And she got promoted she got tenure soon after taking the roadmap. And we all were just so happy that, we got to see her stepping up her writing practice and getting promoted during the time that she was in the roadmap group. And Jeanette says, I was really motivated to finish my work, not only because it's low-hanging fruit, but also because it's a piece of writing that aligns perfectly with my mission statement. So this is what it feels like to be a mission-driven academic and to have your mission statement kind of in your mind when you're deciding what projects to work on. I have no doubt that my writing is contributing to the change I want to see in the world. So this early bird offer ends on Monday at 8. I will be happy to take any questions. I'm going to switch to my camera. And then I'm going to go over here. Hi, I can see you. So, so I'm just going to find you that link so I can drop it in the chat. So Tara says that her biggest takeaway was don't waste Tiger time on mindless tasks. This is so important. Yes, yes, yes. Don't waste Tiger time on mindless tasks. Now that you have this concept, right, you can choose to use your Tiger time for like the things that really need your focus and your energy. Okay, I'm finding the link. Where are you? There it is. Okay. So actually, I'll show you this page so you can see what it looks like. I'm dropping the link in the chat. Okay, and Melanie says, I have colleagues who promote the mantra write every day, and I don't think that works for me because of the other stuff going on. Exactly. Like, so like, I would just say like, as a mom of 3, and I developed this, I started doing Tiger Time without knowing that this was what I was doing when I was a mom of 1. But I really kind of honed this method after my second one. And I just, there's so, and I don't want to say that only moms experience unpredictable things because that's absolutely not true. But I'll just say, like, as a mom, my experience is that if you plan big blocks of time, somebody will start throwing up. So it doesn't work for me. And what it does is the write every day thing, like, was setting me up for failure. It was setting me up to feel bad. And that's not what I want. I like this thing that we've been talking about all week about making the writing feel good and creating a positive relationship between you and your writing is everything. If your colleagues are writing every day and that works for them and it makes them feel happy, then they should be doing that. But for people that doesn't work for, I want to present like an alternative kind of thing. And you can use Tiger Time and writing every day, that they're not exclusive, right? But that's not how it ever worked for me. So Maxine said, Melanie, just to say, I'm definitely motivated more by positive reinforcement than shame. Me too. Maxine says, will this be offered during the fall? I'm transitioning into my TT position in the fall and won't have access to, right. So that's a good question, Maxine. So right now it won't be. My goal is, or my plan for this year is to offer it in May every year. So I'm just offering it once a year. However, like there might be a time when I decide like, hey, let's bring in some new people and I'll do a webinar and people can get in that way. But in terms of like bringing in a big cohort, we're only doing it in May. So one thing to think about is, do you want to get a head start and, start now? Or also like, think about, or plan for next year. Or I also have a program that is going to be open all year. Will be open in fall and spring for enrollment, which is called Amplify, which is my pre-tenure program. And that is not a recorded program right now. It's delivered live. It's a different thing. But so there's still opportunities to work together, Maxine, if you don't want to invest now, but you could invest now, or you could even like talk to your people and say like, hey, I want to do this before I show up and see if they can work something out. It's a thought. The thing is, if you feel like you want to get professional development funding, you need to ask. And you need to ask like whoever, whatever, up the ladder, because you will be surprised how many people, think I'll never get these things funded or they'll never fund me because I'm not officially there yet. And then magically things work out. So, it's a little something to think about. The other thing would be if you wanted to register in the payment plan, you could, take the first, 3 payments yourself and then the rest of the payments, you would have started your semester and you can ask to use your startup or be reimbursed. So it's a thought, think about it. So, other questions that people often have, I will answer. And, one of those is like, if you're a PhD student, like if I'm a PhD student, should I take this course? So I say that this course is really for late stage PhD students. So if you're just starting, I would say no. And so there's that. So, yes, definitely. And late stage PhD students have taken the course. I would say like you're dissertating or beyond. But before the dissertation, I wouldn't spend the time. Having said that though, you do get access to the course materials, like not the community, but the course materials forever, for life of the course. So if you start it, you know, pre-tenure, you will still have it and the resources in there. So, because as you move through your academic career, your life situation changes and your career situation changes, and you need to go back and do the mission statement again, and you need to go back and align your activities again. So it is definitely like an advantage that you get like access. The other thing that people often ask is that, like, it's the summer, so I'm traveling, or I have other things planned already. So again, you have access to you basically get a syllabus, right? Like the 12-week syllabus. Here's what we're doing for 12 weeks. And then here's all the materials. And you can speed up or slow down because you're going to have access to all the materials. So somebody wrote to me and asked a question by email that said, oh, I'm traveling during the sprint. Is that okay? And my answer is yes. You will probably find somebody else in the writing collective who wants to sprint with you at a different time, and you can do the 2-week sprint. So you can shift things around to accommodate your schedule. And because there's so many people in the collective, you'll probably find other people to work with. And, you know, if you wanted to sprint together, for example. So that's another commonly asked question. And then, as Maxine is already thinking about using professional development or startup money, you absolutely can do it. And a lot of people do, but also a lot of people just decide to invest in their careers and, you know, and pay for it themselves. So it's up to you. If you have questions, please reply to any of my emails. When you reply to an email, even though like it looks like that email gets sent, I mean, it does get sent, right? Like most of my emails get sent from an email system. When you reply, it comes to my actual inbox. And so, I'm manning the inbox, womaning the inbox, waiting to answer your questions. So if you're not sure whether it's a good fit for you or not, tell me your situation and I can, guide you in the right direction. Cause if it's not a good fit, I will definitely tell you. I don't want anybody taking the course if it's not the right thing for them. So there's that. If you have any other questions, you can pop them in the chat. And I thank you. I want to say congratulations to everyone who participated in the Summer Writing Challenge. Gina's going to ask me a question via email. Great. I was just about to say congratulations, Gina, for watching all the videos, coming live and staying till the end. And here you are still at the end. So good job. So thank you everyone who, if you're watching on the replay, and you made it all the way to this moment, thank you for coming. Thank you for participating in the Summer Writing Challenge, and have a wonderful day. Bye.